Elon Musk buys Twitter and then unbans Tate is proof. To me, it's unassailable proof that the rest of them were in collusion. Does that make sense?
See, this is where I'm lost, because if Elon's big tech, right?
Not anymore. No, he is. Okay, he became part of big tech when he bought Twitter.
Got it.
And in doing so, he gave. Have you seen Donald Trump? Donald Trump is on a fucking roll right now. He's got his account back.
He's got some shit to say.
He got his account back, and he is going at people.
You go, King.
Yeah. But the point is, like he gave them their accounts back.
Yeah.
And guess what? The world didn't end. People weren't crushed. The platform. I have a feeling Twitter will have its most profitable quarter in forever.
So wait, are you saying that because Elon is going against what big tech's status quo is?
I don't even think he's doing that. I think he's just being normal.
Yeah, right.
Which is what he's treating Twitter the way I would. You have an opinion? Cool, that's your opinion. You have a cool opinion?
Yeah.
Cool, that's your opinion. Cool, you guys can both be on my platform. That's the way I would have treated Twitter.
Yeah.
Nobody's perfect, but Jack Dorsey is this moronic belief that somehow Jack Dorsey was a little bit to the left and Elon is way to the right is fucking nonsense.
Yeah.
Elon Musk built electric cars to get us away from petroleum. He's not a neoconservative Nazi, you moron. He is slightly to the right. I grant you, slightly to the right. And Jack Dorsey was way further to the fucking left than Elon Musk is to the right. There's no perfect person to own Twitter.
Yeah, but here's where I get confused with Elon, because he would say during the Roe v. Wade thing that he would incentivize the women to go get abortions in another state. Something tells me, I don't know.
Which means he's not far to the right, is it?
right.
Yeah.
So when you say
My point exactly. He can have independent thought.
See, those are the kind of people I like. And those, I thought you were saying he was the opposite. So that's why I was
No. What I'm saying is, what I'm saying is, Jack Dorsey is apparently not dangerous because he's far to the left, but Elon Musk is dangerous because he's slightly to the right. That is where I find there to be hypocrisy. Elon Musk is way closer to the center than Jack Dorsey was. No, there's no perfect person to own Twitter. Whoever owns Twitter is going to have biases.
Yeah.
Ever, right? But the progressive commentators on Twitter have not lost their accounts. He didn't take over Twitter. He didn't take over Twitter and then give Donald Trump and Andrew Tate back their accounts and then take away Rachel Maddow's account. He didn't do that.
Yeah.
They're on there too. Yeah. So a fair marketplace where everyone can speak is apparently toxic now. That is what I find to be hypocritical and bullshit.
Toxic masculinity?
Toxic, what it actually is. So there were psychologists, I want to say back in the 90s, who were going through and looking at prisoners, violent prisoners, and they were looking at behaviorism, the behavior of some of these prisoners and how they adapted to living with other extremely aggressive, violent inmates.
Yeah.
And what they found was that, like, oh, you stepped on my shoe, now I'm going to stab you. They found that level of like bravado, to where it would escalate to murder immediately.
Yeah.
They found that to be toxic masculinity. So the term was used for felons, violent felons in prison. Somehow academia got a hold of that term and then used it to mean anything.
Yeah.
And it's complete misnomer. It makes no sense at all.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean anything. It's almost like the word entrepreneur. You remember when the word entrepreneur meant
cool.
something?
Yeah, well, now it's like the guy that's at home wanking off.
The word entrepreneur in 1995 had a meaning. The word entrepreneur now means I take the investors' money and run off to Tulum with a bunch of girls, and then you never hear from me again. That's what entrepreneur
Fire
means.
Festival guy?
Yes, that's Fire Festival guy to now is what the connotation of entrepreneur means.
But entrepreneur is like the job that just the guys pick something that are at home with their moms. Like that's how women see it. They're like, oh shit, he's a fucking entrepreneur.
I make absolutely sure no one in my Men of Action mentoring course is ever allowed to put the word entrepreneur on their bio.
Or CEO, unless they have multiple people working for him.
So I am the CEO of MOA and I have multiple people working for me and I will never put that shit on my fucking on my
people will be an owner of something and then you CEO, and it bothers me. I don't know why.
Okay, so the reason why is when you incorporate in certain states, you literally have to say CEO.
I know.
So it'll actually write in. It'll actually ask you to write insert. Yeah. So that's the reason why they do that. Yeah.
I failed.
Right. So, but I don't use that word. Am I an entrepreneur? Technically. Am I an influencer? Sure. But God, I hate that word.
I'd say Playboy foam cannon party dude.
Yeah. I don't. I like Cat Dilf was my favorite one of all.
Cat Dilf?
Cat Dilf. Yeah, that was my favorite one. Miguel from Dollar Cost Crypto.
He's my version of an alpha male.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
Interesting.
He creates the space. I talk about this container space. I'm sure you've heard of it. But where a woman can be on the hamster wheel, and he's got it. He's chill. He's
beautiful.
Underrated
Nice.
alpha male for
Nice.
sure. I would told Rolo that. Yeah.
Michaela Peterson.
Michaela Peterson. Very good at debate, I guess. I don't have anything else.
Is it weird that when I watch her, I always feel like she's like a couple steps away from crying? Just she has this face that looks like she's about to start crying. Is that weird?
She's got that face of just confusion and
Okay.
not good social cues. Like when neither does her dad though. Like
Yeah.
when like somebody says something, they're like, okay, like they say something. I'm like, that's not good feedback.
When her and Rolo were going back and forth, were there a couple times where you really thought the tears were about to come out? There were several times when I saw that.
I
think it may
know.
just be the construction of her face. I don't know if that was just something I noticed.
She's I don't know her, but she didn't read Rolo's books. Claims she did.
Yeah.
Gets on a podcast with him just to clear her name.
Yeah.
She made herself look worse, because she didn't know the stuff that was in his books, which was literally like she's the girl he talks about.
Sure.
But other than that, just a modern woman with a dad that thinks very traditionally, and there's no one sees it. I don't know.
Pearly things.
Pearly things. Pearly's cool. She has had a significant amount of growth. She's rational.
I looked her up the other day, and
Yeah.
she had written me like a year ago. I didn't know who she was. I just get all these messages, and I saw that she wrote me a long time ago.
Yeah, no, she's gotten a lot of like everybody in the space on. Everybody. But she works hard. Her parents are really cool. Her family's really cool. She comes from a big family. Dad's rich as fuck. Yeah.
So here's the thing I want to talk about. Do you know that there's certain guys, especially like some of the Mode 1 guys, they believe that the hypergamy is not real.
Or they believe it's a death sentence.
Something like that.
Yeah.
To me, from strictly from a scientific standpoint, let's look at data points. Let's take 2 data points. One is the GSS survey showing men between the ages of 18 and 30 having 0 sexual partners, about 28% of them in 2018. I'm going to extrapolate 33% now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Going by that scale.
Yeah.
So a third of men between 18 and 30 having 0 sexual partners. I'm also going to extrapolate.
I would even say it's higher than that, because men, they found that men lie.
Sure.
And if they had one partner, they really didn't have a partner. And
Yeah.
I think it's a little bit bigger.
That's entirely possible.
Yeah.
Now, the other thing being that 80% of men on dating apps are deemed unattractive.
Yeah. Okay.
On Tinder specifically. These 2 things are very indicative of this hypergamy that isn't real. But I believe it is real. This idea that women are choosing. What's happened before is the way I would explain it. I call it the JoJo Von Salty effect. JoJo Von Salty was the first girl I ever saw with 1 million followers on Instagram. When she was 19, she lived in Wichita, Kansas, and I was a captain at McConnell Air Force Base in Wichita. Her and I met up one at Chicago Pizza Kitchen, whatever. We had a couple of discussions. We just as friends. We separated as friends. We stayed in touch. She ends up going into a magazine in Europe, another magazine in Europe, and then she ends up like being published. There were no blue check marks back then. This is like 2012, somewhere in that area. No, not 2012, before that.
Couldn't outsource somebody to write an article on you.
No, there were no blue check marks.
I know, I'm kidding.
So she ends up she's the first girl to 1 million, first girl I know to 2 million. Now she has about 10 or 11 million followers. I don't see her again. Remember, she's in Wichita, Kansas, and she works at Hooters in Wichita, Kansas. I don't see her again until I am in Los Angeles, California. And no, this is before that. I see her in Vegas on stage at a nightclub, and then I see her at Bilzerian's house. Now, I want you to consider the implications of what I just said. The pretty girl at the Hooters in Wichita is now at the Maxim party and at Bilzerian's mansion.
Right.
There is no Wichita dating scene. There is no Waco dating scene.
Yeah.
There is no Secaucus dating scene. There is no Cheyenne, Wyoming dating scene.
Yeah.
There is one global dating scene. And because of that, whereas you were stratified amongst the other cardiologists, injury attorney, personal, whatever guys are making $200,000-$300,000 a year in your city, those are the guys you were competing against.
Yeah.
Now you are literally, not figuratively, competing with Leonardo DiCaprio and Dan Bilzerian.